Welcome to another episode of Hidden Heritage, where we follow the breadcrumb to discover more evidence of who were the only American Indians that inhabited the Americas and that are still here till this day. Now, before we dive into the rabbit hole of truth, if you're new to the channel, please like, share, subscribe, comment your thoughts down below, and turn on post notifications. You'll be informed of our next upcoming episode. If you are already subscribed, welcome back to the channel, and thank you once again for your unwavering support. Please continue to like, comment, and share so more people can witness the truth. Let's dive in. At 64, his Mark says, what's the backstory behind this picture? All right, stay tuned. Let's break it down. All right, today's episode is called The Moment Columbus Meets the Real American Indians. So we're going to examine this artwork right here. Why here? We're going to examine this one as well. Here's a better picture of the indigenous people, the American Indians. Okay. And we got one more to examine. So you saw this is the second one, and we got another one. And we're going to examine this one as well, and as you can see, the words are not in English. All right. Well, we can see the people all right with the jewelry. Full lips, facial features, nose, skin complexion, the bush, the natural, the blowout, the Chippewa, right how he wears his hair. And this is the chief of that in the American Indians right here. You see his skin complexion, his hair type. All right, he has the bush, the natural, the Chippewa, the blowout. Okay, we can examine this, and we're going to translate what it says about who the people are. Okay, all right, so we're going to start at the top and work our way down. The Spanish monarchs received Columbus in Barcelona after this first voyage, and we're going to see the people. But we have a group of people that looks different from everyone else. So we're trying to lock down and identify these 5 people that we see. Okay. In our shot, right here in our frame, right here, these 5 individuals, right here. All right. So we're going to take a little walk down here. Okay, and we're going to continue here. Okay. The Spanish monarchs received Columbus in Barcelona after the first voyage. Okay, keep going. Image description is more detailed. Okay, the Spanish monarchs received Columbus in Barcelona after this first voyage. Illustration for Cristobal Colon by Conde Rosselli de Lord. Right, all that good stuff. And the purpose of this platform is to point out who are the American Indians. We don't care what the Europeans look like. Okay, that's something for an actual European to worry about. That's not our concern. Our concern are the only American Indians. All right, that's it. We don't care if the Europeans look like us and all that good stuff. That's a problem for someone else in Europe. Our issue is American Indian issues. That's it. All right, so we're going to keep going right. I revealed a little bit, but it says image keyword Spain, Europe, fruit food received Cristobal Colon. The Spanish monarchs. Travel Indians first voyage pineapple. So let's pause that. All right. See right there, Indians. Right here, Indians. Okay. So we're going to reveal, but not that yet. So we're going to reveal all the keywords. All right. So we're going to go all this at the bottom. So again, you have the let me pull this back out. Indians first voyage pineapple exploration. Christopher Columbus reception parrot explorer Barcelona. Okay. Christopher Columbus 49. Isabel. All right, so we are all aware of these people, and we're trying to lock down who are the 5 people that we saw earlier, and they are listed as Indians. They are not listed as black. Okay. They are not listed as more Hebrew Israelite. Whatever other buzzwords that we tried to pretend exists. But actually, it's a false identity. Right here, this is our correct identity, Indians. And in the beginning of the video, we said we're going to lock down the other 2 artwork that we saw And one of them we're gonna translate. Okay, so again, we come in here, we see Indians. We also don't see Africans anywhere on this right. So they wasn't Africans, or African Americans, or Kenyans, or the eye from the Ivory Coast, or some nonsense, or from Ghana, or from Nigeria, or something. All this says is Indians. All right, so that is who we are. We are the American Indians, right? So when we have the receipts, and we showing people the receipts again, when Columbus and them met the Indians, as we will show you, he was able to communicate with them at some point of time, and I'm pretty sure they would have said, "Nah, bro. Well, we're actually not Indians. You guys are kind of lost. So we're actually from the Ivory Coast. Or we traveled here 500 years ago before you guys came from Africa voluntarily. But it's okay. You guys can call us Indians. No, we are the Indians, all right. Not the Moors, not the blacks, not the Negroes, not the Hebrew Israelites, not the whatever else. Okay, the truth of the truth, plain and simple. There's no more running from it right here, Indians. Nowhere here says any African or Moor, or black Indian, or Negro Indian, or African Indian, or some weird nonsense like that, all right. Indians, plain and simple, moving on. Okay, on second thought, we're not going to move on just yet, because after we see what Indians as clear as can be, we're going to examine the Indians again, with the complexion, the skin complexion, the body type, their hair, their facial features, their lips, their nose, all right. These are the phenotype of the Indians. Okay. And again, we're going to examine what the other artwork says and translate it as well. So again, see what the Indians look like, all 5 of them. That you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Indians. They wasn't mixed with no Moor or African or anything Hebrew, Israelita, or some weird stuff like that, just Indian, with their feathers, headdress, their hoop earrings, the parakeets from the Carolinas, or the West Indies, all right. They have the identities, needless to say they all share the same phenotype, all right. They're all Indians, even though they had many other tribes. They all look the same. They were Indians. Every last one of these people you see. Here in this photo, their phenotype are the Indians, all right. So this is the second picture artwork, and you see the sources at the bottom. And we're going to examine the people, okay? And we have these people with their skin complexion, with the hoop earrings. Let me get this thing out, that the hoop earrings, skin complexion, phenotype. All right, these are plates right here, or braids, all right, plates, or braids, skin complexion. Look, her full lips. What's it called? Hoop earrings again on both sides. The headdress, the hair. Okay, the braids, the plates, the bushy hair. Okay. And then you see the headdress over here as well. We pull that up, headdress. Okay. Let me scroll down is what I meant. See the jewelry around her arm. Or his arm. Yes. It looks like a woman, all right. All right. And around her ankles. And you see the feathers right here. Around the ankles, right here. And the bracelet, that's a bracelet above the feathers. Around the ankles, and these. This woman is just wearing like gold bracelet around her ankles and around her wrists. So let's pull that up, go back up again. And her upper, we have right here the gold bracelets. Okay, and look at the jewelry around their necks. Right here, all right. Jewelry, so let's go all the way back up again to make sure that we examining what they look like. And they have our features all right. So. Now, with the help of artificial intelligence, we are going to put the source information and the picture, and see what artificial intelligence tells us about the people in this photo, all right. So we asked the question, Please find this exact image and book in APA style format with a direct link. So come here. Says the image you referenced is from the book, this book, right here. Guess Scheidnis van Amerika, write the history of America, by this guy in 1700. This illustration depicts Christopher Columbus, presenting indigenous people, right? Indigenous people and goods from the Americas, not from Africa. Some okay for the indigenous people from America to the Spanish court, kind of on par with what we saw earlier from the first photo, right, that we examined, and read that they are Indians, all right. So let's keep on moving. And here again is the APA citation on all that good stuff, all right. So let's check out some more stuff that we have again. We just want to make sure that people know what indigenous means, all right. So we're going to go over it again. Originating or occurring naturally in a particular place. Native coriander is indigenous to southern Europe. Similar words: native, endemic, local, domestic. Opposite words: non-native, introduced, imported. So they were not imported from any other continent. They were not imported from Africa. That were not imported from Europe. Okay, they were not imported from any other continent. That way, you found them okay, which is the Americas of people number 2. Inhabiting or existing. In a land from the earliest time, nothing comes before earliest, or from before the arrival of colonists. She wants a territorial government to speak with indigenous peoples before implementing a program. Similar word. Native, original, earliest, first. Nothing comes before first. Okay, aboriginal, initial, ancient, primeval, primordial, autochthonous, autochthonic, opposite, expatriate, migrant, or advantage tissues. All right, so they did not migrate to America voluntarily. From Africa, they did not migrate voluntarily from Europe. Because they were exiled, black nobility or black royalty, and they got exiled, and they came from Europe. Okay, that is the opposite of the D. The word indigenous, all right. So indigenous means they were there, all right. If you had the chance, look up the word autochthonous. All right, it will tell you what also indigenous mean. All right, now, let's do that. Before we go, I want to make sure, point out this word. We're going to look this up. This, specifically when it refers to the Indians, all right, that you saw that look like us with the copper-color brown skin, copper skin, this word indigenous. We did not migrate from Africa 500 years ago, or exiled from Europe, or come from Asia, as the Asiatic, some nonsense like that. So we're going to lock down what a talk to this also means when it referring to our people, that copper-color brown skin, American Indians. Let's go, all right. A talk to this. Let's lock it down. We get this out so people can see what I'm seeing. Boom. A talk to this of an inhabitant of a place indigenous, rather than descended from migrants or colonists, all right, newly colonized islands. He third to inhabited by a top in this people by us, by the Indians. Your genealogy will solve a lot of this, so you can see that you did not come from Africa or anywhere else. All right, all right. So let's continue. Indigenous to a particular environment, habitat, or geographical area. Let me go down more. Okay, when is received, this makes any sense. It doesn't pertain to us. Process of formation, remaining in the confines, origin within the body. Okay, it's fine again. Geology of a deposit or formation, formed in its present position. Okay, they were there. They came from the earth, from the soil, from that continent, alone moving. On origin, English self. Okay, Greek earth, come from the earth, from the soil. All right, what else they got here? Okay, early 19 from auto self. Okay, earth. All right, so there we have it. Did not come from. Let's read it one more time from the top. Please, I'll talk to this number 1 of an inhabitant of a place indigenous. rather than descended from migrants or colonists, all right. They were there. Let's look at the T. The last from artwork, that we saw the book, and it's into another language, so we got to translate it so we can read what it says about Columbus meeting the indigenous people. As well, again, this is what they looked like all right there. The hair, skin complexion, the phenotype, body type, headdress, jewelry. Around the neck, jewelry around the arms, hoop, earrings, you name it. They had it all right. So let's go lock down. The last one, all right. So this is the last one for today. And just show you the whole thing. So we got to translate it. And the people see what they look like, all right. See her hair, okay. She has a jewelry, like the Wakanda-looking deal. Right there, news flashed. News. Flash reality check. Wakanda is America. So yeah, go ahead and Google that up, so that's where you got the core. Wakanda necklace. Right here. All right. The headdress, her hair, skin complexion. You get the bracelet around her ankles. All right. Look at the jewelry around this person's neck. As well, and then pay special attention to the type of hair. Right here. Her hair, the blowout. The natural, the Chippewa. Okay, kilt around her waist. So let's see the rest of the people, all right. All right, so all right here. Here they don't have like long, flowy hair, like how they try to portray the Siberians or Asians. Or Asian. Right, so here, look at the hair. It's a D blowout, the Chippewa. The natural, okay, same with this person, and same with the gold around his neck. See his feet, facial features. The hair, okay, kilt. And we're going to take a look at the chief all. Right, his type. His hair, skin, complexion, body type, facial features, all right. So I said, this is in Danish. And you can see kind of what's happening here. He came at the people. The Santa Maria, right here, you notice. He didn't. This is his crew, right, you notice. And this is his brother Bartholomew. Bartholomew is a cartographer, a maker of maps, and Columbus. It was an excellent navigator, all right. So here's the map. So there they know they have a map. They have a globe, and it's round, all right. So they're aware where they are, where they got to go, all right. So here's his crew he was, with okay. So this is going to lead you to show you that Columbus didn't come there with slaves from Africa. He came here with his crew, and his crew alone, all right. That's why you don't see any like slaves. You see the people, you just see the people dress how they dress in Indian attire. And then the translation will read the translation. But again, these are all the Indians, right? Columbus didn't come there with any slaves from Africa or from Europe or from Asia. Okay, he just came there with his men. And we're going to read the translation, all right. So we're in this together. So post a picture. And we said, please translate to English. And the first part, we're going to be here a while. So just make sure you're locked in this text. Appears to be a series of captions accompanying in illustrations about Christopher Columbus. Since it is in Dutch, I will extract and translate the key sections for you. Let me process the text from the image. So let's go to the next section, all right. So we're going to go back up, so you can see we're still here. Okay. The text appears to be a series of captions accompanying illustrations about Christopher Columbus. Since it is in Dutch, I will extract and translate the key sections for you. Let me process the text from the image. This document contains a series of captions that narrate the story of Christopher Columbus's voyages and interactions with the indigenous people So we can see right here, indigenous peoples, and get that out in European royalty. Here is a translated summary of the key sections, because we're going to read this, and then we're going to go some more word for word, bar for bar. Okay, Columbus' proposal to Spain. So we have a good day giving us a backstory. Columbus explains his idea of reaching the Indies again. So, in these right. So, let's stop right there, so we can look up what the word in these are, is because people trying to say, oh, he's looking for Hindustan, right? But India wasn't called. Hindustan wasn't called India until 1947. Right, so when they say he's trying to go to the Indies, he knows exactly where he was going, because he was sailing west, right? So let's look up what the word Indies mean. Which country is Indies? The West Indies is a sub-region of North America, surrounded by the North Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean Sea, which comprises of 13 independent island countries and 19 dependencies in 3 archipelagos, the Greater Antilles, the Lesser Antilles, and Lucayan Archipelago. All right, boom, moving on, continuing all right. So explains his idea of reaching the Indies by sailing west after being rejected by other rulers. The Spanish Queen Isabella agrees to support him preparations and departure. Columbus prepares for the journey with royal funding. And on August 3rd, 1492, he sets sails with 3 ships, Santa Maria, the Pinta, and the Nina. Right, so we all agree on that discovery of that discovery. Land in October 1492. Columbus discovers land encountering indigenous peoples again. You want to highlight that every time so people know this captions. Depict the Europeans' amazement at the natives' people's offerings and customs. All right, return to Spain. Columbus is celebrated as a hero and warmly welcomed by Queen Isabella and her court. They marvel at the exotic fruits and goods he brought back. So let's keep reading number 5. So this is number 4. All right, so further voyages and challenges. Columbus embarks on additional voyages, including to Haiti. Conflicts arise with indigenous leaders. Indigenous leader, Haiti, indigenous leaders, and Columbus faces accusation of mistreatment, eventually lead into his arrest by the Spanish crown. Later, he is released but loses much of his prestige. So, let's take a stop at Haiti. Real quick, Haiti, rejected by African Union, because we like to say, well, the people with wear dark skin, copper skin in Haiti, they're there from Africa, right? Because that's what they saying. They saying those people in Haiti came from Africa, right? However, in a press release issued May 2016, the African Union Commission announced, according to the article 29.1 of the OAS Constitutive Act, only African states can join the African Union. Therefore, Haiti will not be admitted as a member state of the African Union. But I thought they were African. So why aren't they admitted into an African Union? Right, because that's what people are saying. People are saying that the empire of Haiti that stretches the whole of the Americas, all the way to Louisiana as well, that's where you got the occasion and the Creole. As well, they're saying that those people are Africans, but the Africans cannot even accept them, because they are not Africans. Okay, so let's keep reading, because we're gonna read some more, all right. Why was Haiti denied African Union? African diaspora in 2016. The African Union denied memberships to Haiti due to membership admission, as per Article 29.1, and a constitutive act of the African Union being limited to any African state. But I thought they were African state. They came there on slave ships, right? Okay. Is Article 29.1 of the Constitutive Act of the African Union Article 29.1 of the Constitutive Act of the African Union outlines a procedure for the admission of new member states into the African Union, or AU. It states that any African country can apply to become a member of the African Union by submitting a written application to the chairperson of the African Union Commission. Membership is open to all African states that agree to adhere to the Constitutive Act of the African Union and its principles. This article ensures that their AU remains as inclusive organization, fostering unity and cooperation among African nations, while in requiring adherence to its foundational principles. So if the folks from Haiti were in fact, because that's what people are saying, well, all of them were shipped in there, right? But they can't even get into the African Union. What do you think? Listen to this. So, if I'm an African nation, any one of them, and the narrative is, the again. We don't care what the Europeans look like. We don't care to look like us, or they look like the pale people right now. All we care about is who we are, right? So if they're African, states, all 54 of them, are like men, like most of the people that in Haiti, they got, imported, or, deported, or whatever the case from Africa, right? During the transatlantic slave, right? Because the transatlantic slave happens within the Americas. Okay, that's why you can't get anyone from Haiti, right? You can't get their population to be in the African Union, because they're not Africans. And when you saw in the book, it says, when they went to Haiti, they talked to the Indigenous, the chief for the Indigenous people. And we already went over what Indigenous meant. And I talked in this meant all right. So the Haitians cannot even get into the African Union, because they're not Africans. Further voyages and challenges. Columbus embarks on additional voyages, including to Haiti conflicts, with a rise with Indigenous leaders, and Columbus faces accusations of mistreatment, eventually leading to his arrest by the Spanish crown. Later, he was released, but loses much of his prestige, and they tied money down. I said, let me know if you'd like a detailed word-for-word translation or assistant with specific parts. And we said, translate to English what you haven't translated to English. Please, all right, to provide the full and accurate to English. Please, all right, to provide the full and accurate English translation. I will carefully process each caption that was not fully summarized earlier. Let me analyze the text in more detail and present the word-for-word, bar-for-bar translation. For you, okay, here's the full English translation. Okay, top left panel. Christopher Columbus submits his plan to the King of Portugal to reach the Indies again by sailing westward. However, his idea is rejected as unfeasible, and the king refuses to support. He then approaches the King and Queen of Spain after initial doubts and consultations with their advisors. The Queen is convinced by Columbus' persistence and agrees to finance his journey on August 3, 1492. He departs with 3 ships, the Santa Maria, the Pinta, and the Nina. After a challenging voyage of more than 2 months, land is finally sighted. Second row left panel. Upon discovering the new land, Columbus and his crew are welcomed by the indigenous people who offer them various goods and food. Columbus takes possession of the land in the name of Spain. Indigenous people. Second row whoops. Sorry, second row right panel. He returns to Spain in triumph, bringing with him exotic products, gold and indigenous captives, the Indians, the American Indians, the Queen, and her court marvel at the treasures and the stories of his discovery. Excuse me, third row left panel. Columbus undertakes another voyage to their Americas. However, conflicts arise with the indigenous leaders who resist the exploitation, right, the prisoners of the slavery and imposition of European rule again. We don't care what the Europeans look like. We only care what that indigenous American Indians look like back then and today. Right, sorry about that third row. Right panel. Columbus faces accusations from Spanish settlers and leaders who complain about his governance. He is arrested and sent back to Spain in chains. Bottom left panel. After some time he is released and granted the freedom to return to his home. However, his reputation is tarnished, and he spends his later years in relative obscurity. Bottom right panel. Columbus makes his final appearance before the Spanish court. Although he is received by the king or queen, he is no longer the celebrated hero he once was. And this is the detailed translation of all the text present in the image. Let me know if you'd like clarification or additional details. Nowhere in here says anything about any African slaves. Okay, nothing about any European slaves or Asian slaves, just indigenous people, the Indians. Okay, and this is how it all started with this photo we asked. Please find this on the internet with a direct link, which you saw in the beginning of the video. All right, again? What do people look like, those 5 individuals? Christopher Columbus cartoons. All that good stuff. This series of illustration depicting Christopher Columbus voyages and interactions with, again, the indigenous peoples and European royalty can be found. All that good stuff. So what we did, once you asked the question, double down. We doubled down on the question, and that's what led us to the rabbit hole. Okay, this is how it started for the most part. Like, okay, so let's get a backstory. See if we can find it. So that's what we did. Indigenous peoples, from which continent one is, you want to ask the question. But we don't want to specify, we don't want to lead any questions with the possible answer, so that the indigenous peoples keep doing that. Sorry, the indigenous peoples depicted in this image are from the Americas, as this artwork illustrates Christopher Columbus, presenting native individuals, the Indians. Okay, goods. Christopher Columbus. The artwork illustrates Christopher Columbus, presenting native individuals, goods, and animals from his voyages to the New World. So the animals, the fruits, the goods, the people are from the Americas. And they put it in parentheses so no one can be like, oh, well, the new role is really no, the Americas we got. It's so as this artwork illustrates Christopher Columbus presented native individuals, goods, and animals from his voyages to the New World, in parentheses, the Americas, to the Spanish court. This moment is tied to his arrival in the Caribbean and subsequent encounters with indigenous communities. They're right, so we're going to leave it at that. The Indians. Okay, the Indians. Indigenous people are talking this people, American Indians. The transatlantic slave trade happened within the Americas. Okay, happened within. Go back and watch the last 2 videos, you will see. And again, Navy folks, chime in if you have any experience in the Navy, the U.S. Navy, or anything like that, Coast Guard. Let us know your experience to see with the Jura. The unforgiving seas there. These liars are claiming that it were 10 million people bustling back and forth from Africa to America. Right, let us know if that's even possible. It is not possible to make that trip from Africa to America, back for it back, and back and forth like that. Absolutely not within the Americas, yeah. We got proof of that. We got receipts. We got receipts of that. But we can't find anyone well to tell us any specific routes to take back and forth with millions of people. Okay, if we're telling that all we do, they took 4 million people to Brazil, 4 million people to the West Indies. What are you feeding them? Right, the currents, the ocean, the hurricanes. How is that possible? It is not you. Can't even survive on 1 or 2 bad nights of sleep. And we're telling people that the journey was taken 80 days. And then they wears the desalination for the BOI and pump salt water. Where are the desalter kits so people could survive? You cannot go more than a few days to a week without drinking water, okay? No one can just sit there on their butts or back for that long. Try doing that on a road trip for a couple hours. You can't do it. And you're expecting people to believe that they did it for 80 days or 2 months with the metal chains around their wrists and neck and ankles, just sitting there, pooping and peeing and vomiting and blood. And the women with the menstrual cycles, all right, with the dysentery, the scurvy, the TB, the rashes, the chains around that ankle. What was it? Genuine leather, okay, because that rust from the chains, it's going to eat out our way their flesh. And then the salt in the air, all right. The salt in the air would make their conditions deteriorate even worse, more worse. And then we're talking sleep deprivation. Have 1 night of bad sleep and see how you feel. And we're telling people where we're yanking people who don't speak no language from the Americas, yanking them from Africa, different tribe, from Ghana and Nigeria, and all these places, the ivory cultures, yanking them, and then you tell them to go tell the land to grow corn and watermelon and squash and pumpkin, stuff that they don't have or didn't have there in Europe or Africa at the time, and sugarcane, right? Tell them to go raise the cotton, because when you read the books, they don't pick cotton, they raise the cotton. So somebody has to know how to do that. And then the only people that would know that are the Indians, the indigenous people, all right. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, subscribe, and comment your thoughts down below. And don't forget to turn on your post notifications you've informed of our next upcoming episode. Please take care of yourself. Please take care of each other. We'll see you guys in the next one. Much love and adoration, American Indians.